Hi guys, welcome to this Facebook Live. We are coming to you once again from the ET Now Mumbai newsroom to get you a complete analysis and summary of today's market action. And it was a very exciting day of trade. I mean, you looked at the indices, one glass on the screen, and you will realize that the indices closed higher by about 0.5%. We're talking 10,600 again on the Nifty. And drilling it down to specifics, it's been a very news-heavy session. So let's start off with the big news makers. First, of course, metals. You had Hindalco, Vedanta, Tata Steel, all of the metal stocks particularly active in trade today. It's a commodity-based sell-off, rather rally, which is driving interest in metal counters. Nalco did well. If you look at the flip side in the market, OMCs, and the reason I marked them is because there was a significant amount of unwinding today. We still need to look at the internals, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens with the delivery stats that come in a little while from now to assess what the mood would be like going into trade tomorrow. Because remember, OMCs have been in a downtrend, so BPCL, IOC, HPCL, the market is losing a bit of faith and conviction in these names. But such a significant unwinding pressure coming in a single trading session just seems like it requires some bit of understanding of what's happening with OMCs and who's essentially selling into these stocks, what kind of, and whether those, that sort of selling pressure is coming on the back of delivery. So that's something to monitor. And of course, then we have TCS earnings, which the market will react to tomorrow. We have the Fortis board meet. In moments from now, you will get to hear about what the Fortis board decides with regards to the takeover tussle, which has been dominating the entire Fortis story for the last 2 weeks. And that, I think, will happen in just about 10 minutes from now. So stay tuned to ET Now to get the very latest on that. And of course, do follow us on Twitter as well as Facebook for all the very latest updates there. Now, I know I'm getting a lot of questions in the banking sector, what's happening in metal stocks. Yes, I mean, metal stocks were in focus today. There's no taking away from that. And it seems like, especially when commodities are in a structural bull market, that you have multi-year highs coming in for commodities, not just the underlying metals, but also the businesses that are invested in them. So essentially, aluminium, steel, copper prices have been rising. There is an expectation that demand is coming back in a meaningful manner, and we will see that multi-year bull market in commodities again. So we've been talking about the commodities rally for now almost 18 months. You look at a 52-week chart, or you look at an 18-month chart for any of the metal stocks, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Gone are the days when metals was not a fancied sector. Given the focus on infrastructure, now metals have come back in a big way, and that's why you're seeing across-the-board buying interest in some of the metal names. And also this whole process of cleaning up the steel sector with NCLT stepping up on getting the sick companies out of the way, and the takeover norms coming into place under the IBC, that's the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, is just only increasing the prospects. By the end of this consolidation, you'll have fewer players but stronger players in the market and more focused players, and that's good news for the sector as a whole. Okay. I'm trying to take some more questions which are new, which we haven't addressed over the last few days. I know, yes, Abhishek is asking about the shipping sector, and SCI was in focus today, saw a great amount of traction. But with shipping also, it really depends on the cargo freight rates which determine, that's the key variable that determines the outlook for the shipping sector. So you have the freight rates for dry cargo as well as oil tankers, and indications are if the demand pick up, there is an expectation that freight rates are also going to go up, and there's also been a lot of pent-up investment which is now coming through within the shipping sector. So they're also investing in higher capacity. So all of that augurs well for the shipping business. Remember, anything to do with infrastructure development will see a boost in this sort of market environment. And shipping is core to that. Investment in ports, investment in transporting dry bulk cargo. oil tankers, all of that will only work well for the sector as a whole. As traffic increases, as cargo transportation increases, things will just help the sector overall. I don't want to get into stock-specific views, as I always tell all of you out there. So do consult your financial advisor and seek their opinion on what's the best way to play the shipping sector. Ashwin Mehta was asked about DLF. Ashwin, I won't talk again stocks, but something is definitely happening in real estate because you're looking at selective buying interest coming in there, and the experts we speak to tell us that some of the high quality players under RERA, high quality players with good execution capabilities, are finding favor in the market. So gone are the days when real estate was seen as a troubled sector that was cash strapped, and that nobody would want to invest in real estate, by a long shot. I think a lot of old hands in the market, veteran market investors are believing that there is value in the sector. Classic case in point being Monish Paparai, who on my show a couple of months back spoke about Suntech Realty, and he in fact highlighted the case that don't rubbish real estate in one go. Things might be looking up under the new regulators, especially for the serious players, especially for the good quality news. So the operative term over there is really good quality. Search for good quality companies, good execution capability, and maybe you have an opportunity or an investment case within real estate. Okay, I try to get some more questions in. I'm sorry, but there are some specific questions that are coming in where you're seeking advice and opinion on developments that can move the stocks, and I so can't take up those questions. Okay, Deepak is asking please give your view on this stock, on Jubilant Life and pharma sector. Jubilant Life, I know it was active today, it fell today by about 7%. Deepak, I can't talk about a specific company, but I can tell you that the pharma sector, again, just like real estate, it seems like that troubles might be coming to an end, especially with the US FDA. Cipla is another case in point. Their Form 483 got a clean chit, which is heartening to see, because typically there are always compliance issues that come up in as and when Form 483 is issued. That's not been the case right now. But again, within pharma, you have to be very, very careful as to where will the alpha opportunity come, or the opportunity to outperform the markets. It can't be across the board. I remember 2 to 3 years back, before this whole problem started with the US regulator, pharma was seen as a sector that moved together. There was a bit of a herd mentality when we bought pharma stocks, and which is why the exposure to pharma and institutional portfolios was very high. If you want to look at pharma, buy 5 or 6 pharma companies, they're all good. But that's not the case right now. You need to go very, very company specific, understand their model. For example, Biocon, right? We've seen how the biosimilar story is picking up globally and back home. And so things are looking up for that business. So it's very, very company specific right now. And just to paint the entire sector with one brush may not be wise. I'm also trying to get in some more questions. TCS is going to be coming up with numbers anytime now. Anything that TCS says or does over and above what Infi has indicated to the market would be interesting, because they don't give an official guidance, but you need to read between the lines to understand whether or not they are sounding optimistic about the business environment. They were in Jan, which is why the stock has performed well, and now it's trading at almost 20-21 times forward earnings. So TCS is the outperformer within the pack, and if they indicate to the market that things are looking up, then things are indeed looking up. And like I said, the other thing that you need to focus on will be Fortis, because in this takeover tussle, in the focus, or essentially what I'm trying to say is that in this takeover tussle, there could be an opportunity for investors, but one has to size that opportunity correctly. And right now it seems like it's very difficult to take a call, as there's a lot of uncertainty. So maybe today's board decision would give us some clarity on which way this story is headed. And then of course the approach of minority shareholders take towards this entire saga. So very, very difficult to say. Situation is ever evolving when it comes to Fortis. Okay, just one broad question on the markets before we wrap up then. Tanvir is asking, and it's very strange to say my own name, but Tanvir is asking, do you think that more correction can be possible in the near future? Difficult to say, would be subject to a couple of factors. One is oil. If oil continues to rise, then there would be concern on inflation. They'd be concerned that if inflation goes up, then rates will have to be raised perhaps faster than expected. Interest rates, that's what I'm talking about. And the other angle to that is what does that do for the oil sector, which is a key weight on the index, especially OMCs. Will they continue to pass on the prices to the final consumers like you and me, or will they step back because they're stepping into an important election season? So election is a bit of an overhang for the market. In fact, Morgan Stanley, you should read that report, which has spoken about how the markets are likely to perform in lieu of the election risk. And while many people might say it's general elections are 1 year down the line, even so, we have a lot of state elections lined up, and Karnataka will be key. So all these aspects will be an important variable for the markets. Mind you, if you map back to 2014, from December 2013 to May 2014, before the new government came into power, and I remember even in the month the new government was announced, the new Prime Minister was appointed, you had a stellar run. So go take a look at the 10-year chart for the Nifty, and you'll know what I'm talking about, especially the period between 2014 to now, and especially the period of 2013 and 2014. So sometimes the election uncertainty can also be an opportunity. But that's the time when you need to be very, very wise and prudent and seek advice from your financial advisors or any of the market experts that you know of, and take a very prudent call towards managing your portfolio. Right now, it seems like we will be in a transition phase, stepping into that all-important election season. So that's my view. I think the market is largely the range bound. Given all the experts that I've spoken to, it's difficult to make a case of a big upside or a big downside. But with that, we come to the end of this Facebook Live. I've extended my time. But thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow at the same time.
What did he say?